In my previous video, I spoke about how you should actually study for your exams so that you can achieve good grades in a less amount of time that you put in your studies. And in that video, I also spoke about how you can utilize spaced repetition, where you are actively extracting a piece of memory that you haven't been exposed to in a while. And when you do extract that memory from your brain, it is very likely that that piece of memory is going to be stored into your long-term memory system. Now, this process of actively trying to extract that piece of memory is what is known as active recall. So that got me thinking, why don't I make a video about active recall so that you guys can implement it into your studies as well? Now, this doesn't have to be applied only when you are studying for an exam. This can also be applied to, throughout the years and throughout the semesters, so that when exam time comes, it's actually even going to be easier for you to, utilize the knowledge that you have learned, because so much of what you have learned is already in your long-term memory system. All right. So, what is active recall? How can I implement and how can I utilize active recall? You've probably heard of this term so many times before, so I'm not going to give you the boring stuff like, teach yourself or conceal the content and try to test yourself on the knowledge that you've learned and go ahead and review it, because stuff like that has been taught online in hundreds of different places. So I'm not going to give you the general advice. I'm going to give you the 2 tips that you will go to yourself and think, holy crap, this is such interesting advice on how to utilize active recall. It sounds fun, so you're actually gonna use it and it's gonna help you in your studies and you will see results, which is what I want to happen for you. So there are 2 things, and the first thing is to utilize active recall, you should try to make jokes about you have studied with the reference to the topic when you're around your friends, okay? Make jokes with reference to what you have studied with your friends. Okay, so how should you do this? Let's say you're hanging out with your friends, you guys just having a good time, you're laughing, and you see something around you that is, even remotely related to what you study. So by then, what you do is you go ahead and make a joke about it, and you try to make a reference to what you have studied within your subject. And the beautiful thing about this is if your joke lands and the reference or the comparison that you have made is actually accurate, your friends will laugh about it. You see how crazy that is? So you guys will all have a good time, you guys will all be laughing, and you are also consolidating on what you have learned throughout your topic in your subject. And now if that, when you are making that comparison, you are, you're forcing your brain to think about whether the comparison that you are making is accurate to what you've learned. And that's what active recall is. Active recall is when you are trying to extract that piece of memory that you have learned. You are not just mindlessly reading out lecture slides, or you're just being exposed or shown to the content that you are trying to study. You are trying to extract it. That is what active recall is. So when you make jokes about it, when you make references or comparisons about it with your friends, you are utilizing active recall while also making a joke that gets your friends to laugh, and you guys are all having a good time. So it's a win-win situation. You're improving your knowledge on the subject while you're also having fun, okay? Let me try to give you an example about this. So me and my friends, we play badminton all the time, right? And we've also studied a subject called material properties in university. And in that subject, there is a concept called tensile strength, where a material exceeds the maximum stress that it can take, which causes that material to fracture, to break essentially. So all of us, we've obviously been exposed to that, right? But then when we play badminton, there's this one friend that he's always afraid of breaking his frame for some reason. And I usually make this joke to him. I say, do you want me to test the tensile strength of your racket by like basically bending it and breaking it, right? And he just tells me, oh, fuck off, like jokingly, oh, you're so freaking annoying, whatever. But you see, when I make that joke, I am actively making a comparison to the concept of tensile strength that I have studied throughout my semester. So then that's a way of me trying to consolidate the knowledge so that it can be more likely to be stored in my long-term memory system and I won't forget about it. That's just one way that you can utilize active recall in your day-to-day. That's actually fun, so you can consolidate your knowledge. You can learn the topic better. Another way that you can utilize active recall in your day-to-day stuff that's actually fun is be the annoying nerd when you have a study sessions with your friends. Okay? You see, when you are having a study session with your friends, there's this one guy that always goes around and look at people's work, and he kind of points out whenever someone makes a mistake, and he just goes, oh, this is wrong, yeah, I actually have to do this and this and this. He's basically teaching them, right? And then the friend, usually they goes, oh yeah, all good, thank you, thanks for your help. And when that nerd does that, he is secretly consolidating what he's learned. He is applying what he has learned. He's trying to extract that memory and he is teaching it to his friends. And he's also seeing if what he has extracted is correct or not. And that's what's beautiful about it. When you have a study session with your friends, you can act almost like a teacher and just go around and correct them on whether what they've done is correct or wrong. And another thing I want to give you is, you probably are thinking, well, when I do that, I'm not studying myself, right? Because I also have to practice these questions when I study with my friends. That's what study session is for. And I'm telling you, when you are studying with your friends, you're probably not going to get anything done either way, right? You guys are probably just going to talk, and I'm telling you, study sessions, like study groups, are useless. You should study by yourself, alone. That's the most effective way to study. You're going to be way more productive that way. So I'm telling you, get your study done elsewhere, like get your study done somewhere else, but don't say no when your friends invite you to study anyways, because it's a chance for you to practice this weird active recall tip that I'm giving you. So when you get to your study sessions, be the guy that walks around the study group and corrects people, because when you do that, you are teaching others what to do. And that's such a practical way of you implementing this active recall technique where you are being the teacher. You know how people online, they usually give you the tip, act like you're teaching yourself to an audience, where you just weirdly walk around your room, your empty room, you're just acting as if you are teaching the content to someone else. Well, when you're with your friends, you are actually teaching it. You are not acting as if you are teaching it. So that's what's beautiful about it, right? It's such a practical way of doing it, because again, you are there with your friends and you are correcting them on what they are doing. So it's gonna be more fun that way, since you are with the people that you like to talk with. So again, just another way that you can utilize active recall. So if you implement these two tips, I guarantee you're gonna understand and remember the content that you have studied during your semester way better compared to if you don't use them, obviously. And when exam time comes, you can watch my previous video on how to study for your exams, and that will really enhance your achievements and your results in your exam. So hopefully this video has helped you. I really hope you implement the 2 tips, my advice, and hope that you will see results in your studies. Okay, see you. Bye.